was, but I was listening to a baseball game late at night.
Okay.
You know, back in the day when I was a teenager, when I was only 12, I was listening to games at night. You know, because there wasn't a lot of TV, and I was fascinated by turning the radio on and scanning around. You can hear stations from all over the country at night. And that's when I became fascinated with radio. The point is, I don't feel like I'm better than anybody else because I've been doing this a long time.
Hell no.
But I respect accomplishment. And a lot of people don't respect accomplishment. They just think, well, I study more than you, or I think I know more than you, therefore I do. And that's not how it works. Opinions are different than facts. My opinions are usually based on facts. I make observations based on what I think is going to happen. That's not an opinion based on fact. Facts are facts. You can't change them. You can make an opinion based on them. I give opinions based on knowledge and based on what I think is right.
Right, experience.
That doesn't mean I'm going to be right. But when it's a fact-based opinion, then I know I'm right. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
All right.
Absolutely, man.
So I don't think I'm smarter than anybody else. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. And I still want to learn. That's the difference.
Yes.
But there's a lot of people who just don't want to hear anything else. They think they know it all.
They're closed-minded, and so that's how come I totally agree with you. Being open-minded at any age and being open to something new is the best way to think, no matter whether you were monolingual, bilingual, trilingual, or transsexual.
I hear you.
Or trisexual.
Basically. Or trisexual, whatever.
Or
multisexual.
Regardless of what your gender, which one of genders you may be in.
Well, let's go to phone and see what kind of genders we have on the line.
And we're going to give out. How are we going to give out the cruise on the Patriot Harbor line? By the way, shout out to our boy, Captain
Wall, man.
Captain Wall was like, he had pneumonia.
Yeah, he was sick. He was like in the hospital for a day or so.
The guy works like an animal. Some days, like we saw him for the Memorial Day weekend cruise. He did like 10 cruises in one day. Even Captain Stubing didn't do that on the Love Boat.
No, I mean, you need a little juice. You don't need gas. You need juice for that, bro.
Remember Captain Stubing on the Love Boat,
Absolutely,
Robin?
I do.
It's great Love Boat knowledge.
What did we see where we had
We're watching Mary Tyler Moore.
That's right, and there was 2 of the Love Boat people were on.
Exactly. Let's go back to the phones.
Robin, is Facebook back up live now?
Yeah, I believe so, and I'm double-checking that, but I think it is.
All right, well, in the meantime, we'll go to the phones. Again, with no call screen, so we're going 610-731. 610-731.
Let's go to...
What up, Bruno?
Oh, it is Jose. I thought somebody played it. Jose, drop it.
No, just you, Tony.
What up, Jose?
What up, Luigi?
What up, Jose?
What up, Miss Robbins?
What up,
What
Jose?
Up? What up? Nothing much, yo.
What up, Tom? You didn't say Thomas is out there in Phoenix. You know he's listening in.
What up, Mr. Rogers?
He is Mr. Rogers. Now, you watching the NHL award show and also the which Flyers have been picked up by the Las Vegas Golden Knights so far? Do you know, Jose?
Haven't been tracking the expansion draft because it's on the same time as the NHL awards, and I'm not a big fan of NHL award shows.
Wow. Even though Sergei Bobrovsky, a cast-off by your Philadelphia Flyers, could win the Vezina Trophy tonight. Or it could be Holtby for the second straight year back-to-back. You know the last goalie in the NHL to win back-to-back Vezina trophies? Jose?
I'm glad you said Jose because you looked at me, I would have not known.
That's an easy one, man. Marty Brodeur.
I was going to say
back in the 90s. Martin Brodeur won back-to-back Vezinas. I think it was 98 and 99, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But Holtby down there in Washington with the Capitals, he's a Vezina finalist as well. Who wins the Vezina Trophy tonight, Jose, since you are a hockey aficionado, unlike hockey hater Luigi Curto?
Not a hater.
I'm gonna go Bob.
Bob! Sergei Bobrovsky. I wouldn't be shocked. Would you be shocked if Bob wins it?
I wouldn't even care. To be honest with you, I'm sorry, Tony. I just wouldn't, man.
No, but you'll care who the last pick in the second round of the NBA draft is going to be.
Damn right I would, man.
It's ridiculous.
My boys are picking tomorrow.
Oh,
that's right, brother. My boys are picking tomorrow. Hang on, Jose. Let this ride out for a second. Even Tony can't deny this. He loves this.
But I have breaking news from the NBA high-speed wire, speaking of the Sixers. The New Orleans Pelicans have traded Tim Frazier
Backup point guard.
To the Washington Wizards in exchange for the number 52 pick. Somewhere Sam Hinkie's loins are stirring, wishing that he had the number 52 pick as well, because you can never have enough second-round draft picks if you're a Hinkieite. Somewhere on your board out there in Southern California. What else is going on, Jose?
Well, can we give the Phillies one of those for thanking us for a memorable first half of the season? Night after night, Bruno.
Can you believe?
Bullpen problems.
Oh.
Starting pitching problems.
It's on what happened in the 11th. It was a 1-1 ball game, and then they give up 7 runs in the 11th inning. You play 11 innings.
What the hell's going on out here?
And then you give up 7 runs to a Cardinal team that has been struggling mightily in the month of June, and they come in here and start beating the hell out of the Phillies. It's a 22-47.
Our boy Brian Martell, Marty's checking in. Our Flyers hockey expert over here, he's saying Pierre Bellemare is going to Vegas.
The Frenchman, eh?
Yep.
There's a lot of French Canadian out there, and that's Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
And you know what he's famous for? Not only just being a Flyer.
No, I know.
When he was playing for the French in the World Championships, his goaltender was given the Most Valuable Player of the Tournament award. And he said, no, he was given the Most Valuable Player of the Tournament award, and he refused it and gave it to his goaltender and said, I don't deserve this. My goalie played better than I did, and he awarded the goaltender the trophy for the Most Valuable Player of that tournament. That's a class act right there, man. How many guys you see do that in sports?
0.
It was on the ice. I mean, they announce his name. They're handing him the trophy, and he says, no, points it to his goalie, and he gives him the MVP trophy.
That's awesome.
That's pretty damn good.
That is very awesome.
You'll never see like that happen in the NBA, will you?
Timmy Gallagher checks in. He puts up a quote, I have no clue, Luigi, on anything with a puck. Basically. You are right about that, boss.
Exactly right. So, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is now a Las Vegas Golden Knight. Your thoughts, Jose?
What up, Vegas? What up?
What's going on? Jose is like a couple of
he's
octaves back tonight.
He's a few back.
A couple of RCHs off the pace tonight. Now, we now know who the Sixers are. Is there any drama? Let me ask you this, Jose. Is there any reason to watch the NBA draft Thursday night?
Because the reason why I shouldn't watch shouldn't watch because we already know who's going to go in the first 2 picks.
Who's going to be? So Ball's going to go, right? There's no way now that the Lakers have pretty much given up on D'Angelo Russell. Is there any doubt they take Lonzo Ball?
Yeah, he's going. Now he's the fit. Without Russell there, he's the fit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they'll slide Clarkson over. They'll make him the point. They'll make him the de facto
fan.
two.
I would like to see Ball. I would like to see Ball in the Lakers uniform, and within the next year or so, I'm hoping Paul George goes there.
Well, Paul George supposedly wants to go there. Paul George wants to go there.
Yeah, I'm hearing Paul George. Yeah, he wants to go home. He wants to go back to where he grew up.
Back to Cali.
California.
Going back to Cali. But let me ask you this,
Yes,
Jose.
sir.
All right, because the Sixers and the Lakers have both been tanking. The Lakers more recently, since Kobe crashed and burned at the end of his career, and that team stunk, and they've stunk for the last few years. If the Lakers,
Yes.
after all this tanking, go out there and get LeBron to go out to California or Paul George, and they become a contender for another NBA championship, and the Sixers are still flogging along trying to become an 8 seed, will you be angry?
No, I would not be.
Because you're a Laker fan, right?
Yes, and I like the Sixers fans. We watch, we see it through, yo.
Well, Tony, I mean, I don't know as far as this is going to go, but if LeBron leaves the East and depending on what the Celtics do with this team that they're building over there in the next couple of years, and if the quote-unquote process does work once it finally gets on the floor, the Sixers aren't too far away from contending for the Eastern Conference Finals. They're really not. They'll be within striking range of landing, being a landing spot for a potential free agent to come in and help along. But if LeBron does go to LA, we're not beating the Lakers. I don't think it's going to happen.
Here's the thing. The Lakers will become a destination even without a great team.
Just because of the Lakers.
Right.
They're
That's my
showtime.
point. That's why all these Sixer fans, all these trusters, I'm not talking about real Sixer fans. I'm talking about these tweeners, these guys who, now 19-year-olds who think they invented basketball because they sit at home with analytics. And oh, by the way, the Sixers fired their analytic guy. They think that's the way. Analytics don't tell you whether a kid's a dope or not. Analytics don't tell you whether a kid's going to be mature enough to play in the NBA. All it gives you is numbers in, numbers out. And everybody's obsessed with numbers because of fantasy and all that other crap. Analytics don't do anything to determine whether a player is going to be a great player and help you win a championship. Zero. Zilch. Nada.
Amen, yo. It's all about the eyeball test, yo.
People were asking this question. If you're the Sixers or you're an NBA team,
go ahead.
Would you rather have a guy at least has been in the league a year or two, say a Porzingis or a who's the other kid, or Jimmy Butler instead of a top 3 draft pick? Would you take one of those proven players?
Yeah, I would take Jimmy Butler.
Over
Markelle Fultz right now, yes, I would put.
Would you do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Jose, would you do that?
Without question, I would take Jimmy. He's one of the top 3 best two-way players in the league, no question.
I have to concur with Luigi's, yo. I'll take Jimmy Butler.
Because Jimmy Butler does is Jimmy Butler allows you to go ahead and play Jared Bayless, who you already have on this team, or go out and sign a Patty Mills type point guard and play Jimmy Butler as the 2. And let him run off the ball with Ben Simmons dictating the point guard duties once they get across the timeline, and Jimmy Butler is able to play defensively, play up top. So Jimmy Butler does work. Porzingis, however, it'd be tempting to see all the big guys down there, Embiid and Porzingis.
No, I don't even mean for the Sixers. I mean
overall
for any team.
I'll take a proven commodity over unknown any day of the week.
Now the Knicks aren't going to trade Porzingis to the Celtics. They have Kelly Olynyk, but they don't really have because Porzingis is the real deal, is he not? Do you think he's a fluke?
No, Porzingis can play, flat out. So he's the only player in NBA history with what was it, 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 threes made in like this first 2 years in the league.
Oh, I agree.
Come on, man, that's incredible. And he's 7'1". He's Joel Embiid and faster. Porzingis is a true NBA stud, man. Yes,
I totally agree with you. And I love hearing these people.
That's why I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence right now.
Are salivating over having a top 3 pick, which may or may not become an NBA star.
That's why right now I'm and a few people have asked me earlier today. They said, would you take? And it's been asked around the Delaware Valley now because the Sixers have the #1 pick, and then in order to get Porzingis from the Knicks, you'd have to give away that pick, presumably, correct? Would you take the #1 pick, being Markelle Fultz, and trade him to New York for Porzingis? I'd be pretty tempted to, Tony. I don't know if I could say no.
But where does Porzingis fit in this team?
You would play Porzingis because here's how it would work out. How I would see it work out. You would play Joel Embiid naturally at the 5, right? But again, Embiid is always going to be restricted, so he's never always going to be your starting center throughout the whole season. When that happens, when he sits, Porzingis plays the 5. But until then, you would play on defense. You would have Covington play the 3 at small forward. Embiid would be the 5 at the center. Simmons would play 4. I'm sorry. What the hell? Porzingis would be the 4. Porzingis would be the
Saric.
Saric is on the bench, or he'd be in New York.
He would trade Saric away?
You have to probably trade Saric.
You have to trade Saric and the #1 pick?
Decent player. You have to trade Saric, the #1 pick, and probably a lot more to get Porzingis.
I don't know if the Knicks get a better deal than that. I don't think the Knicks get a better offer than that.
Tony, I don't know, man. Offensively speaking, you got 2 guys, 2 7-footers. Well, and Ben almost being 7 foot at 6. I think he grew to 6'11" over the summer. You got 3 7-footers on the court who could stretch the floor in every single way.
Didn't they have that with Nerlens Noel? Didn't they have that with
Noel can't score like Porzingis.
Well, my point is
he can't score like
all
Embiid.
they've had is big men. They just keep drafting big men. Jahlil Okafor's a big
Yeah,
man.
but
Nerlens Noel's a big man.
Yeah, but Joel Embiid is a skilled big man.
I know he is. I'm not talking about Embiid. I'm talking about the other guys.
Well, Noel was the fourth. He was the fourth pick, Tony. He was just the only player there to take at that point. He was a piece. He was never going to be here for the whole thing.
Then why did all these people buy his jerseys then?
Because he was the shiny toy. It's the only. Who else are you going to buy? You're going to go out there and buy a freaking Royal Ivy
As
jersey?
I said at the very beginning of the show, this is a league. This is a league in disarray. The NBA, total disarray.
I just think it'd be. I think it'd be fun to have those three almost, but basically 3 7-footers on the court. You're basically creating the Monstars, is what you're doing to go face off against Bron. That's what you're doing, man. I would love to see Ben Simmons, Porzingis, and Embiid on the court at the same time. You don't have any idea how devastating of an offense that is, Tony. You're talking about 3 guys who can run the floor, all 7 foot. That's incredible.
Who's going to get the ball?
The ball's going to be in Ben Simmons' hands until it leaves, and it goes into either Porzingis or Embiid's, and it never leaves until it goes in the basket. It'd be a lot of fun to watch, man. It'd be tempting. If New York said
Old people having sex will be more fun to watch than the 76ers have been the last few years.
Wait. How old?
I mean, real old.
We need to clarify
I mean,
this.
real old.
As Italians say, Ivek.
Ivek.
I love it. I don't know why he's playing hockey.
Because there's certain things you just can't get out of your head.
Oh. Speaking of NHL, you know what we have Friday night after the NBA on Thursday?
What do we have?
We have NHL draft action.
Oh, well, Friday night, the draft. That's right. I knew that.
Yo, the Flyers picked 2nd overall, yo.
I knew that, too. Luigi thought the draft was tonight. I told him, no, it's the NHL awards.
You're gonna take NHL advice from me, Tone?
And then I said, no. And then there's the dispersal draft, or the expansion draft. Ain't no draft in Vegas. It's probably about 115 out there in the shade. By the way, it's getting dark, so we are now coming to sunset. We have to get a better vantage point. I missed the summer solstice tonight.
I know, Tone.
I know.
We should have done the show from Stonehenge, so we can watch the sun set right between 2 of the arches.
It should have been
in
at least
Stonehenge.
outside.
Could have went over to Stogie's and did it right up the street.
But you can't see the sunset from
Why
there.
we should have did it from the top of your mom's roof?
We should have. We should have gone up on Tar Beach, as I used to call it
Tar
growing up.
Beach.
Where do you go for the
Tar
summer?
Beach.
When people say, where do you go for the summer? I say, up on Tar Beach, up on the roof. That's how poor I was. We couldn't even afford to go to the shore.
How many half balls did
Bruno.
you have up there, Tone?
A
There's
lot.
one thing, too.
What's
Crack out
that?
A couple Zimas.
There's 78 days until NFL football, yo.
Exactly right.
78
I'm actually okay with letting the NFL.
No,
play
I'm not.
football, but I'm okay with it.
I don't want the summer to end, but I can't wait for football again.
It's because the Phillies are just horrific. That's why, Tone.
What else is going to happen between now and football?
It's the weather. Enjoy the weather.
Enjoy the weather. We're going to be doing some traveling. We're going to LA,
When are you going to LA again?
August.
Nice.
You know, we haven't been back to L.A. since we moved here in 2011,
Which is
and it's Robin's 50th
haven't
high school
been.
reunion.
it's not my 50th.
It's Robin's going back for a 50th high
Yeah,
school reunion.
it's my 100th year high school reunion. No, it's my 30th.
Miss Robin,
30 years.
30th?
30th year high school reunion. I know. I was only 5 when I went to high school.
Dude, you know what they say about them high school girls, man?
I get older, they stay the same age. Man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
We got other calls, son.
All right, Jose.
All right.
Have a good
See you
weekend,
guys
buddy.
later, yo.
Stay cool. There he is, the great Jose in
I
Norristown.
will.
I don't grade callers, but Jose a little bit slow on the uptake.
Yeah, it's a little
tonight.
off today.
Like
Yeah.
me, I'm a little slow on the uptake tonight.
That's all right.
But I've been downstairs spackling all day.
Basement's almost done, bro.
I got the window looking real good now.
It's
Robin
almost
did a
a
lot of the work yesterday. All the angles and stuff. I'm bad at angles. Although I made a couple of good angular cuts today on the inside of the window. We put a new window in, so I had to do all the sheetrock work around it. You know, you have to do the corners, the inside walls, the upper wall, and then there's like tilts and straight walls and then tilts and angles. It's pretty good. It's like the Sistine Chapel.
Bob Veal, some bitch over there. That's what you are, bro.
You saw that window. How great does that look?
Fantastic, man. Looks like somebody else did it.
Damn
But
right.
you did it yourself.
I'm just going to be happy to not have to wear grubby clothes every single day and not to have bruises in places I don't remember getting them. Like you get in front of the mirror and you're like, holy crap, how did that happen?
And it wasn't even a pleasurable act.
No.
By the way, I have breaking news from Los Angeles tonight, speaking of the West Coast. The Los Angeles Times has just issued this statement. Please note, we just deleted an automated tweet saying there was a 6.8 earthquake in Isla Vista. That earthquake happened in 1925. I am not making this up. The LA Times, LA Now.
It's better late than never, Tony. You know what I'm saying?
Automated. Like,
Yes.
how do you automatically post something like that?
They explain, we have an algorithm that automatically writes stories about earthquakes based on USGS alerts. The USGS alert was incorrect. A QuakeBot. The QuakeBot story has now been updated. So there was not an earthquake in Southern California, according to the LA Times LA Now site. Wow.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
And as one person points out to the LA Times, Elias Sadah says, unfortunately, some mistakes are of larger magnitude than others.
Oh, I like that. That was good. That was good.
So Marcette says that, Tony, get Robin some new shoes, you cheap bastard.
She has more shoes than Imelda Marcos, for God's sake.
And then Brenda says, maybe Tony will buy me shoes, too.
Notice how it's all women checking in to tell you to
I
buy
know.
shoes, Tone.
And then Paul Ferreira says, you really are one of us, Uncle Tony and Robin.
Damn right, whatever that means. One of us regarding what?
I'm not sure if that has anything to do with shoes or...
I wear the same pair of shoes until they wear out. I bought a pair of cheap shoes last year when I was doing my mother's house. Remember, I went to Walmart and bought a $20 pair of work shoes.
No,
they weren't good.
Now those
I wore those until they fell apart.
They literally
yes,
did
those
fall apart.
and my shoes have
But
now
your
gone,
shoes were good shoes.
They were fantastic shoes. They were Docker clogs, but I've had them for over 10 years.
But I understand, but they're not cheap shoes. They're not disposable
No,
shoes.
but they-
but
but
you
I-
wore, they had an unbelievable lifespan.
Yes, they did. They started off as just really comfortable shoes, and then they were the perfect travel shoe because they didn't have laces, so you could just slip them on and off. And I traveled with them to San Francisco every week. They're the perfect, like, going through customs shoes. And you can slip them on and off very easily. Then they started to wear out a little bit, so when we started doing a lot of construction, they're the perfect shoes because they have the hard sole so that nails don't go through them, which I already experienced once with my flip-flops when we went to the NFL draft, so I knew I didn't want to do that again. And now they finally bit the dust big time.
Yeah, and then so I'm supposed to go out, but you order your own shoes. The stuff comes from Amazon every day in this damn house.
And what came from Amazon today, Tony Bruno?
Well, that's not for me. It's for us. My wall mount for my TV set down the basement.
Can't handle the
In the
truth.
cellar. I'm going to call it the cellar.
The cellar?
The cellar.
now on.
I
Thank
like,
you. Do
I
not
like
call
the
it a
cellar.
man cave.
No, I hate man cave. I hate the term man cave.
You and me both,
When
dude.
somebody says it,
deaf to
I
my
want to
soul.
become I want to become violent.
Does a bear live down there?
I know.
Are there bats in
whoever
there?
whoever
I
invented
don't
that
know.
slogan.
It's bad.
It's stupid. It's offensive.
But I
first
do
of all,
like the
especially
cellar.
if a guy's married. He says, "I'm going to the man
Man cave.
Where does the wife go?
I know. It's like
Go buy shoes.
To the whore hole? Where's she going? I don't know.
Man cave.
I'm just saying.
God, I hate that
Ouija.
term.
I know. I'm sorry.
I hate that term.
It
I
is.
know, I'm
It is.
sorry.
It's very exclusive.
I call it the cellar.
It's exclusionary. The cellar is just someplace that everybody wants to go.
And it's not
because-
just at Macy's. By the way, the cellar's not always in the cellar at Macy's.
No.
Some places it's on the second floor.
True.
But the
They
cellar.
have the cellar in San Francisco in Union Square. The Macy's cellar is actually in the cellar.
But the cellar connotes lots of fantastic
Yeah, like wine.
wine
You know,
cellar.
you have your wine in the cellar, right?
Yep.
You have your little action in the cellar. You go down there, do some hanky-panky. What else you got down there?
Laundry.
You got the, but
What
that's in the
else-
back room. You
What
can
else
close the
would you
back
think
room.
of cellar besides wine?
Cheese cellar.
Yeah, you got
Cheese.
The salami. Hide the salami down there.
Little hide the salami.
What do we call it there? The charcuterie cellar. I can make my own meats and cheeses and hang them down there.
You make sauce down there.
You make the sauce, the gravy, whatever you want to call it.
It's sauce, but whatever.
Salt
You know,
cellar.
There's only one thing better than all of that in the cellar.
What's that?
Two chicks at the same time, man.
Exactly right. I have to get the futon for that yet.
The futon.
Not the Bhutan.
Not the Bhutan. You need 2 Bhutans for that to happen.
A lot of people have some seller input here.
By the way, do you know what today also was? A day that I never celebrate. I wonder what our good friend like Roberta Pepito was doing today. Today was National Selfie Day. Did you know that, Luigi?
She
The
must
most
have been
narcissistic
going
day
crazy.
in the history of freaking days.
We need a day to become National Selfie Day. Some people, that's all they do is take selfies.
I swear it's stupid, man. I could care less about you and your freaking stupid selfie. You're taking 300 of them a day.
National
It's
Selfie
the
Day.
most narcissistic thing ever.
I don't know if it's
Speaking
the
of
new
narcissism, did you know that we have a national rise in narcissistic disorder? Since the last five years, I think they've seen a rise in narcissistic disorders.
Steve Leggett, the Phillies equal seller.
The Phillies are cellar dwellers. They'll be invited down there, too. We'll have the next Hatfield Dollar Dog Night in my cellar with the Phillies.
Well, I have something, my Florida update is something that you're going to want to stock the cellar with.
All right, so I'll tell you what then, Robin. Why don't we go to Florida?
Okay.
Because it's it's in the cellar of the United States. It's at the
Right.
bottom. And then we'll go back and we'll take these last 2 phone calls before we go off air, though.
Absolutely.
like
All
a
right, so how
plan.
about we do that? So we'll go to Florida, and then we'll do the rest.
Let's get the damn Florida update music in here now.
I got you, bro.
Down to Florida, we welcome you to the Sunshine State.
Dateline, Orlando, Florida, the middle of the
Luigi's been
state.
there, too.
Yes,
I've been to
we've
Orlando.
taken Luigi to Orlando. They now have an Orlando company called Legal Lean.
Legal Lean?
Legal Lean.
Is that like the gangster lean? Is that like the lean? What's the lean? It's like a steroid thing, right? Lean?
Well, no,
Lean's purple drink, man.
Purple drank, and then there's the gangster lean, which
Gangster
is not
lean.
purple drank.
but
No,
there's
that's just
also Bill Romanowski's lean, which is very, very healthy. This is more on the healthy
That's the lean right there.
I do the gangster lean all the time. With the
They have now
sunroof top.
developed the perfect Tony Bruno product, It is called Coco Loco. It comes
Coco Loco?
Coco Loco, and it is the very first snortable chocolate.
Snortable chocolate?
Snortable chocolate. It is. You
Does it
can.
have fentanyl in it? I hope not.
No, it is not. It's actually all healthy. Even doctors have said that even though it sounds controversial, there is absolutely nothing that you could. There's nothing in it that would cause you harm.
How does that go into your? How does? I don't snort.
I
I've
know.
never done cocaine.
I know.
I don't even like the thought of But you know
I
what
can't breathe
I've
in my
done
nose.
now though? I do the sinus rinses.
Sinus rinses.
With the bottle where you squeeze it
I don't
and it
know,
washes
man.
out. You have to do that when
Well,
you're
let
working
me
in a
tell-
dirty. And then the other thing I do now is the
nasal
nasal
sport.
sprays. But I don't like snorting anything up my nose.
I know it
How would
sounds
chocolate
horrible.
work?
So here's let me explain.
Go ahead.
So it is brown powder with specks of white. It smells like chocolate, and when you snort it, apparently it also tastes like chocolate going down. And you now can see the product alongside candy bars and energy pills at small shops in Florida, and it's probably going to be spreading throughout the rest of the United States.
So you
as
see it
well.
right up at the front, the cash register where they have all
Yeah,
that
it's a
fake
little- it looks like
drug
little-
stuff. Where that
little-
stuff that people buy, Luigi, at the counters at the 7-Eleven. It's all that stuff that gets you high.
I don't know. I don't go into 7-Eleven to buy stuff at the counter to get me high. What are you talking about, Tone?
No, they don't just sell it to get high, but they have all these fake energy things.
Right,
No, I'm not talking about
like
5
Oh, like
hours.
the
Red
last
Bulls
all
and
night
stuff.
kind of things
Yeah,
or whatever it is?
whatever.
Okay.
But
like speed, fake
Coco
speed.
Loco uses cacao,
I love
which is
cacao.
processed at a lower heat than cocoa, retaining more beneficial nutrients.
Is it
Raw-
70% cacao?
Raw cacao is hailed as a superfood full of mood-lifting. Okay, now here are these words that are going to be difficult for me. Mood-lifting anandamide and phenylethylamine, cognition-assisting flavonoids, and muscle-relaxing magnesium. It also can be purchased on Amazon. Hey, I can purchase it on Amazon,
I am
Tony.
not snorting any chocolate. I take chocolate the old-fashioned way. I
However-
chew it and I swallow it.
The product powder specifically intended for snorting has not been a mass market product in the U.S.
I was going to say,
as
about,
of
what,
yet.
315 pounds?
But apparently, snorting it enhances the effects and allows it to hit you quicker.
So what's next? What are you going to do? Have it injected through a freaking needle? You're going to liquefy? You're going to people burning chocolate with a spoon, making s'mores, and just sticking it in your veins?
The label lists B vitamins, ginkgo biloba,
This is stupid.
blood flow improving amino acid L-arginine, and the energy drink stimulants guarana and taurine.
Yeah, taurine and guarana. That's what they put in everything. Remember the Four Loko? They had to
Yes.
take that out, didn't they?
I wonder
Remember
if this
the
is
Four
made...
Loko drink, Luigi, where they were selling it and people were getting high?
Yeah, of course.
Well, this is Coco Loco. Wouldn't it be weird if it was made by the same company
That makes what?
that made Four Loco? This is Coco Loco.
It probably is. If they have
wonder.
taurine and guarana in it,
But it's completely like all these, they've ran it through.
it sounds like a scam. It sounds like it's something that's going to get you high. I'm going to get
Well,
you high.
I'm sure people automatically associate anything that gets put through your nose.
We have tape from someone who's actually sniffed this Coco Loco.
What do you got, bro?
You like that? You like that?
I mean,
That sounds like
I
a
don't even
scam
know
to
if
me.
I'd want to.
Has it been approved by the FDA?
It's totally approved.
Has it been
Everything
approved by Dr. Timothy Leary? Is it legal for sale in California?
I don't know California, but it is in Florida right
Can
now.
I get it at
well,
the,
you can get it on Amazon now. So so you can bring it here. I'm gonna look it up.
I don't want it.
Who does that? Who has
I'm a chocoholic. That's not the way I like my chocolate. I would rather have a chocolate enema than snort chocolate through my nose.
Well, there's an idea. I wonder what that would do for you, Tony.
Let's go to the phones and find out.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to...
610-755.
Hello.
Tony,
What's going on? Is this Charlie?
this is Tim from Pottstown.
Oh, Tim, I thought you were Glenside Charlie there for a second.
Nah, that's not me.
What's going on in Pottstown tonight, man? Or as Jim Rome would say, P-Town.
Just quiet, suburban life.
Dude.
Talk about these trusters.
Are you? Did the process work in your mind?
Hey. No, I hate the word process. I think the whole word should just be thrown out of the dictionary at this point.
The only process that was ever acceptable in my world was the old process when the brothers used to get the do-rags and back in the day, they used to get the hair, the lye in there. When I was growing up, the black kids would always have like the do-rag on, and they still do, some of them, but they'd get the hair slicked back. You know what I'm talking about with the process, Robin?
I do. I remember.
That's the only process that I
chemical
recognize.
process, an actual process.
That's the process that I recognize. The purposely losing games is no process to me. I'm sorry. I can't process that.
Yeah, I had a couple guys tell me yesterday that I wasn't allowed to root for the Sixers anymore because I didn't follow them during the process.
Yeah, because they make the rules.
So I'm gonna go off.
Winning games.
I'm gonna go off on that. That is total BS, dude. You don't have to sit there and stand by and like everything they're doing, but no one's gonna tell you that you can't root. You should be able to root whenever you feel like jumping on the bandwagon. You go back, you go, oh, whatever, you guys were right, I was wrong, whatever. I'm watching the game. It doesn't matter. But you can have a little tongue-in-cheek back and forth. You could bust each other's balls as friends or whatever. But you can't tell somebody, no, you weren't there for the entire process. You don't belong. You can't
these people are that demented.
No, they are that demented.
They are
Some
that
of these
demented.
people that really, truly believe that, and they're out of their freaking minds. There's a difference between fandom and cult mentality.
Yep.
They are a cult.
They really are.
Seriously, some of these people really do, they worship and they believe in this shit, and it's absolutely absurd, man. You can root for whoever you want to, whenever the hell you want to, man.
Except the Dallas Cowboys.
Then you're just...
if you're in Philadelphia, yeah.
No, there's no rule. There's no rules of when you need to come back.
I'm supposed to root for a team that's 1-30 at a time? That's ridiculous.
Dude,
They were 1-30. They started out the season.
I sat there and I believed, like I said, I believed in the whole process of acquiring the assets and everything in the beginning. But I never once went down. Right? I never gave this team a dime. I didn't buy a shirt. I didn't buy
no way.
Nothing. I turned the game on for a few minutes. Like, oh, Embiid's playing cool. I'll check it out or whatever. Or like, oh, they're not getting blown out by 70. Okay.
By the way,
I'll turn it
and
on
I
for a
don't
few
hate the
minutes. That's it.
players. I don't hate the players. They're just being thrown out there. It's not the players' fault. It's not even Brett Brown's
I don't
fault.
blame them.
And it's
I don't
not
blame
Brett
the players
Brown's
at all.
fault. Brett Brown is being told by this ownership group, hey, this is what we're doing. You're going to be a good boy, and you're going to listen, and you're going to throw games. You're not going to throw games. You're going to go out there undermanned without the ability to compete in the NBA. And that's something, as a lifelong Philadelphian, as someone who's been here since 1952, I will never tolerate that. I know times change, but this is not change for the better. This is change. This is the what have you done for me lately nonsense world that we live in. And guess what? The Sixers haven't done anything for us lately. And so when they start winning, and hopefully these guys are healthy and they play and start winning, then listen, I'm a fan of this team no matter what. But I'm not going to pay money, and I'm not going to watch things that don't entertain me and that don't excite me. If you're not dedicated enough to put a product on the field that is representative of professional basketball, and you're charging professional basketball prices, I have no obligation to support it. But if you're good, you're going to tell me not to support you? By the way, the Sixers are selling season tickets galore, right, Louis?
They lead the NBA right at 14,000 season tickets have been sold already.
And that's good. That's good. And
That's
I hope
great
they
because
sell
there's
out
going to
every
be people
game.
in the building actually. But if you notice, Tony, the only time there's been anyone even in the building to watch this team play in the last 3 years has been for two reasons: either
watch the
Embiid's
other
playing
team.
or the Warriors or the Cavs are here.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's when you know you're a bad franchise.
Yeah,
when you only can sell tickets for the opponent for based on who the opponents are.
I just think it's asinine to tell someone who lives in this town, who was asked to support losing in order to possibly win in the future, that they're not allowed to root for that team once they finally get to the point where they're good. That's ridiculous. No, there's no one should have to sit there and go through that pain and sit and go, oh, well, we sat through all the agony, so we're the only ones allowed to enjoy it. No, it's BS, man. You had to sit there and suffer without basketball for almost 5 years, man.
Most of those clowns didn't go to the games anyway.
No, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They sat all the way in the cheap seats. They sat in the freaking all the way up in the top of the rafters, basically on the roof, and chanted their little songs and their little freaking sayings. And in Hinkie we trust. That's what they did, Tone. Because they're not getting down low enough. They're not gonna make the financial investment that some of these other people made. People today who went out, those 14,000 people who bought season tickets, who spent that kind of money, Tone, they're the people that sat there and said, you know what? Okay.
Now I'm going to buy in.
Now I'm going to buy in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now you're bringing in talent.
Embiid's healthy. Simmons is coming in. We got the #1 pick. I've been told now that the process, quote unquote, is over. Now I'm going to buy in. So now Sixers, show us. That's it.
The process is over, but it's not a success yet. Just because you acquire assets doesn't make you successful, and I hope it's successful. If it's not successful, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm glad the Sixers are losing because it proved me right. I don't want the Sixers to keep losing.
But even with the piece in play, seeing that's the small sample size of Embiid and seeing that even the smaller sample size of a Simmons and the excitement of a Fultz coming in and the possibility of getting a free agent, I'm actually more excited for the Sixers in the next 3 years than I am for any other team in the city, Tony. I really am. And I truly believe that if these players on the court can do what we all hope they can do, what we all process them to do, basically.
Don't use process in that.
I'm sorry, man.
The only thing that's processed is American cheese, which is not even made with American cheese. It says processed American cheese food product.
But I've said
that's an outrage there. That's a process that I don't trust either.
I've said this before.
Or the processed human flesh that I'm supposed to have in my mouth.
I've said this before, and as recently as yesterday, that if I had to put money on a team to not have to win a title, but get to a championship game in the next 4 years, I put it on the Sixers, hands down. Hands down.
Win a championship?
No, not they don't have to win it, but to get to a championship, if I had to put my money on one team in the next 4 years to get to a championship opportunity, I put it on the Sixers.
I agree.
Hands down before the Eagles, before the Phillies, before the Flyers, the Sixers are more equipped, quote unquote, right now to go win a title, to go compete for a title.
I don't know about that.
I do.
You can't say that yet because these guys are going to stay healthy.
The East is weak. The East is weak. If these players play again up to their potential and they get a free agent in the next couple of years, they can automatically catapult.
I'd love to see it.
But you said it right there. Play up to their potential.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen yet.
But because I know what the potential for the Flyers is right now. They're a middling franchise. The Eagles right now, they're the third best. They're the third best team in their division right now, Tony. Let's face that. They are.
They're not.
Yes, they are. They're not better than the Cowboys. They're not better than the Giants. They're not. They're not.
What do the Giants have?
The Giants are better than the Eagles right now, Tony.
No, they're not.
They are, Tony.
No, they're not.
They're the third best team in the division. The Eagles have a harder road to get to the Super Bowl than the Sixers do to get to the NBA Finals.
Not even close.
They do? All right.
Not even close.
Okay.
Because an NFL
Time
team,
will tell, bro. I'm telling you
an
right
NFL
now.
team can turn it around right away when you have the right pieces.
What was that?
If LeBron leaves the East, I think they have a much easier time.
Absolutely, that's what we're predicating.
And I think LeBron's
goes
leaving.
to L.A.
I think LeBron's leaving.
If LeBron leaves and goes, yeah, absolutely, the Sixers are right in there. But if this team does, if these guys play and they don't make the playoffs, or they don't show market improvement, then that's going to be a head scratcher to me, man. If these teams play, if these guys play and they're healthy,
I don't think they make the playoffs this year.
They don't have to make the playoffs, but have a respectable season.
No, go win 40 games.
Yeah, you got to win
40 games. I don't even need to see them make the playoffs. What I need to see is I need to see Embiid on the floor a majority of the games, which he's always going to be restricted, but I need him to see out there for at least 60 games, okay? I need to see Simmons playing like the potential rookie of the year he's supposed to be last year, the dominant force. I need to see them hit. Markelle Fultz needs to be a hit. You have an 80% chance of hitting on the number one pick in the draft the last dozen years or whatever it is in the NBA during the draft lottery. I need Fultz to be a hit. He has to be a hit. He can't be a miss. He can't be a Noel. He can't be a Jahlil Okafor. He has to be a hit.
Absolutely.
If that happens, Tony, in the next year or two, they will be that potential quote-unquote landing spot for the big-name free agent to come in and set them over the top and make a run for an Eastern Conference final. I truly believe that can happen.
That's a lot of ifs.
But that's how you do it in the NBA. You get a few players to the draft. You get yourself a big-name free agent to come in to help your team. You put a few pieces around them, and next thing you know, bingo, bango, you're in the NBA Finals.
But here's the other difference between the NBA versus hockey, for example. Hockey, you can see your young players in the minor leagues. Baseball, you can see your young players developing in the minor leagues. Baseball and hockey have legitimate minor league teams where they play. The NBA D-League is a joke. That's not a developmental league. That's a bunch of young guys who can't play in the NBA or old guys who are just still wanting to run around a little bit. So that's the difference. The Flyers are loaded now in the minor leagues. The Phillies are loaded in the minor leagues. The Sixers don't have anybody that's a young player that they're developing. Because even their draft picks, when they sit on the bench, they're not playing, they're not learning anything. So that's why I think you need fewer players in the NBA to win. You're only using 5 or 6 really good players. The rest of the guys are bench players.
Right.
So why is it so hard to win when you have the entire world now putting players into your league? The NBA is worldwide, more than any other sport.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey has players from around the world, but the NBA is probably the most dominant league, the only sport in this country that is played in more countries than any other sport we play.
Right,
here.
because you're getting
Other than soccer, but we're not really good at soccer.
Europe, you're getting players from Asia.
Everywhere.
Africa.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And most of the good, in fact, there will be more foreign players drafted in the first round tomorrow night, on Thursday night, than there will be seniors who played 4 years of college basketball. Do you realize that, Luigi? You know how many, here I saw the Vegas odds. You know how many seniors who played 4 years of college basketball are expected to be drafted in the first round of the NBA draft? 2.5. A half a player.
How do you get a half a player? Is he hurt?
No, it means if you think one player is going to go, you bet over 0.5. So they're even in Vegas. They don't know if one senior will be drafted. So there will be 16.5 is the over/under on freshmen, kids who played 1 year of college basketball.
Over all that.
Over that.
Because these entire starting 5 from Kentucky's going.
And guess what the rest of the guys will be? European players or players from around the world. Only one kid who played 4 years of college basketball will be drafted in the first round, or maybe 0. It could be 0 or 1. That's what's wrong with the NBA. Not that the international players are getting attention, but the fact that a kid who plays 4 years of college basketball, who is more emotionally and physically equipped to play, is being lightly regarded compared to guys who are 18 and 19 years old who aren't even old enough to drink yet.
Yeah, but Tony, you know that. I mean, in the NBA, you don't need to play 4 years to be a seasoned player in the NBA.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
A lot of it is a
LeBron
head
James
game.
was a high school player.
There's only one LeBron James in the last 20 years.
Moses Malone was a high school player.
That's 30 years ago.
Well, that's your boy, though, right? There's your
That was
example.
30 years ago. We're talking
All I'm
about
trying to say to you is that you don't need to play 4 years to be.
Yes, you do.
You
More
should.
players who go in as first-year players fail in the NBA than make it. More of these guys fail than make it.
Evan Turner played 4 years.
Yeah, and he was the college player of the year, and he was the second pick in the draft.
And what did that turn out to?
No, he's an average NBA player.
He's a journeyman now.
Then why did the Sixers take him with the number 2 pick?
Because he was a safe pick. Because they didn't want to take DeMarcus Cousins, and we missed out on John Wall. That's why.
But the point is that kids who stay 4 years in college now aren't regarded. They're considered guys who aren't that good. That's why they stayed for 4 years. Now you play 1 year. Most of the time you're not ready to play in the NBA.
And
More so than not. That's a guaranteed, proven fact.
And then they get brought up, and then they just sit on the bench for a while, and they get
try
cold.
to play, and they're not good, like Jahlil Okafor. Jahlil Okafor, oh, man, where did he play college ball? What did he do at every level? Then he comes here, and he stinks out loud. You know why? Because he didn't have the mental makeup to be an NBA pro. Do you believe Jahlil Okafor was a great player coming out of college?
No.
Why not?
Because he wasn't a great college.
There are people thinking he would have been the number 1 pick last year. So how can he not be great?
Because he can't rebound.
So then he was the third. So he's the third best player who can't rebound. So the Sixers still took the guy who was the best player on the board at number 3, and he can't rebound. And you know what a lot of guys are going to be picked tomorrow night in the NBA draft? There'll be guys who can't shoot. There'll be guys who can't rebound. There'll be guys who can't make free throws, and they're all going to be handed the keys to an NBA franchise at age 19 to go in there and save their asses.
Now, back in the Charles Barkley and the Magic Johnson days, how long did they go to college?
Well, they changed the rules. You couldn't come out right away.
Right.
A lot of guys, then they made it 3 years. And now
but back then, what was it? Do you remember what it was?
A lot of guys went 4 years. Tim Duncan went all 4 years to Wake Forest. I think that worked out pretty well, Luigi.
Yeah, he's actually one of the guys who actually did pan out by going for 4 years.
And he was good enough to come out after 1 year, was he not?
Tony. No, I don't think he was.
But back in those days,
the game was different back then, though, Tony. When he came out,
it was better.
Again, your opinion. Your opinion that it was better.
Yes, in my opinion, it was a better played franchise.
How much basketball have you watched in the last 10 years?
I have not watched as much now because I don't enjoy it as much.
Then you can't comment on it because you haven't looked at it.
Of course I've looked at it. I've watched a lot of it. I just don't watch as obsessively as I did before.
The big man's game has changed now. Now you have more athletic big men. Guys like Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid.
But the big men in the NBA don't matter anymore. It's not a big man's game. The number of great centers in the NBA is at an all-time low. It is at an all-time low.
Tony, but if
you want to give me 3 or 4 guys, the entire NBA was loaded with great centers back in the day.
Really? They were just big stiffs too. There was a lot of big stiffs.
They weren't big stiffs.
Okay, who was a great center? Was Bill Laimbeer a great center? Was Bill Laimbeer a great center?
Yes, he was.
He was a great center.
In his era, he was.
Make an NBA team
He did everything you wanted him to do as a center.
Push people, knock people on the ground.
Exactly. That's the way the game was played.
Really?
Did he win championships?
Charles Oakley did that too. He didn't win no damn championship. Isaiah Thomas won a championship. Joe Dumars won a championship.
Laimbeer did.
All Laimbeer did was just piss people off.
That team won because they were a team, and they played the way it was necessary, like the Alonzo Mournings of the world, that era of basketball.
Tony, but there's centers like that today too, Tone.
No, they're not.
The game is just changed.
NBA centers today are at the absolute worst in the history of the franchise. When it used to be
Michael Haney checks in. He says it's a guard-driven league, no doubt. It absolutely is. But the big men are starting to come back a little bit, Tone.
That's good, but you're saying there's 5 good big men in the entire NBA of 32 teams, 30 teams. Karl Anthony Towns is not a great big man yet. He's a good young big man, hoping he gets better. It's a joke.
So who's a great big? I mean, who's a great big man? Bill Wennington was a great big man.
Solid. We don't have to be great. Okay. The big men played their. There are guys now who are laughing stocks playing the center position in the NBA.
Tony, the game is
laughing stocks.
Now it's just more about individual talent. It's more athletic. The players are more athletic than they were back then. In the 80s and the 90s that you're referring to. They just were.
Yeah, the players now are more athletic, but they can't play fundamental basketball.
Fundamental basketball.
That's the difference.
The game has changed. So that's what I'm trying to say.
So fundamentals don't matter anymore, right?
I'm not saying
the game has regressed to where fundamentals don't matter.
The only thing that's fundamental about basketball is dribbling and shooting, passing,
and a lot of guys can't do that.
And they can't do
that.
And
they'll be number 1 draft picks, and guys will be ejaculating as their name is called, never having watched 1 second of these kids play in college, never having watched 1 second of a Washington Husky game, but they're all experts on the damn Pac-12.
Well, it's
an outrage. How many games have you watched Markelle Fultz play?
Truthfully?
Yeah.
3. And that's why I said I'm not sold on the fact that if New York called me and said, give me the number one pick, and I'll give you Porzingis, I might do that. Because he's a proven commodity. I might do that. By the way, Porzingis is another great big man in the league.
He could be. He might be.
Okay.
He's so great that the Knicks don't want anything to do with him. A team
That's because he don't want nothing to do with the Knicks.
A team doesn't have any talent, other than the overrated stiff Carmelo Anthony. The most overrated stiff of our generation, Carmelo Anthony. Certified overrated stiff. If he played anywhere but the New York Knicks, no one would know who he was. If he played
with Denver.
If he played for the Milwaukee Bucks, if he played for the Denver Nuggets, no one would even mention his name.
Carmelo was a great scorer in his day, Tony, but at that time
he was.
Those days have
but
come
he's one jack. He's one jack. He's the best. He's the biggest midget in a circus. That's what he is. When you're in New York and you're the only star on the team, you're the biggest midget in the circus. That's his claim to fame. Because he stinks, and he's a loser. He's won nothing, and he never will unless he goes to another team and just hitches his coattails to another good team.
Yeah, again, Carmelo was never a guy who was going to take you to a finals. He was never a guy.
You don't think Knicks fans thought that when they drafted him?
No, they thought they could put the ball in the basket, Tony. That's what they paid him to do. That's what he did very, very well for a long time.
He stinks, and the NBA is a league in disarray. Delusional owners, delusional GMs, and delusional, fickle fans.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
You're damn right it is.
Just saying, bro.
And the other thing that I also
remember,
all these fans that are out there.
I've forgotten more about basketball than any of these trusters will ever learn. I have forgotten more about the play, the way the game's played, and the great players than these punks will ever learn.
Yeah, but remember, Tony, there are some, the next great players. You're watching them now.
Who? Where?
LeBron's not great.
LeBron's starting to go on the down.
Kevin Durant's not great.
LeBron is on the way. He's on the top of the slope, and it's going to start heading downward.
Because he's played a gazillion minutes.
I'm not saying
he's still roll the ball on the court. He's still the best player in the world.
Absolutely is. But how many more?
Even a guy on his downside.
After LeBron, you tell me that the future stars we're playing right now that people are going to become household names in the NBA.
You got your Steph Curry was up there now. Durant.
But Steph Curry's been in the league 6 years. He's not just a guy who came in.
He's only been in the league it's not exactly 100 years, Tony. He hasn't been in the league forever.
Steph Curry's like close to 30 now.
It's all right. So he can still be a dominant shooter for the next 5-6 years.
I agree, but I'm saying those are the guys who are the superstars right now.
Anthony Davis,
nobody even realizes who he is.
You're watching a guy
he's hurt all the time, too.
Embiid, Ben Simmons has a chance to be that kind of player.
If they can stay healthy. Greg Oden was supposed to be a great player, too, and he couldn't stay healthy.
Okay, ding, 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 ding. Gentlemen, back to your corners. Back to your corners.
Sick and tired of having to talk sense and wise up the dumb bastards out there who don't understand basketball.
Exactly
who don't understand the damn game, Luigi.
And I think
just because you play fantasy basketball doesn't mean you know basketball.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea. That's right.
I didn't say you have no idea.
I have no idea. No, it's fine. I'm just going to be quiet. It's your show. I'll be quiet.
Oh, let's look at now. Is you a truster now?
No, I'm not. No,
are you one of them Sam Hinkie guys?
Well, no, he got called out on social media too. So
I didn't get called out on social media for that. I got called out by something else, but someone was being very rude for no reason.
Who, Robin?
No.
Robin.
There's some people that
don't worry about that. These people rip me all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to talk to you about how
we have one more call.
We are being brought to you by a fantastic company that you are able to see us on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope Live because of Switchboard.live. It is a fantastic streaming engine that you can stream one stream to them, and then they disseminate it from 2 to 20 different sites simultaneously. They are fantastic for creators, for producers, for brand managers. If you want to be able to get your brand out there to as many places as possible.
Like we get out all of our hot takes on the NBA.
Yes. Then you need Switchboard.live. It is very inexpensive when you consider that you would have to pay probably 5 or 6 times the amount to get the bandwidth to be able to stream it yourself. So check out Switchboard.live for all of your streaming needs.
Now Luigi's mad now. He's mad at me now.
I'm not mad at you.
Yes, you are.
I love
No,
it. Man.
go to the phones.
Well,
Let's
we
go to
still
the
have.
phones.
We still
No,
have.
no, the caller's dropped, man.
Oh,
Did he,
okay.
you know,
Our friend is still on the phone here.
Is Scott still there?
I think we got to give Scott a cruise just for hanging.
Yeah, I know. Really, I didn't realize
Hold
that
on.
there was still somebody there.
Wait, what did you say, Scott? I'm sorry.
Is it Scott in Pottstown or Tom in Pottstown?
I'm still here. I'm sorry. It's Tim in Pottstown.
It's Tim in Pottstown.
Tim in Pottstown.
I'm sorry, Tim. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Tim. I got on a rant, and then Luigi
sorry.
got on a rant,
I'm-
and then I got on a rant, and then
I'm
Robin
sorry,
got on a rant.
I feel responsible for it. I apologize.
No, you
No,
don't have to
don't
apologize.
apologize. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. You called up and you stirred the pot. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. In fact, there's a few radio stations in town that would love to have you call.
But honestly, I think that just because
I'm
you
sure they
started the rant and you hung in there while they were ranting, you definitely deserve a fantastic Delaware cruise on one of the Patriot Line boats.
The Harbor Patriot, PhillyByBoat.com. You can be on,
Sounds amazing.
and it's a great little ride on the Delaware River with Captain Walt and his crew. They do a great job.
And this is valid for you and a guest, and you can pick any time that they have sailing. You need to book in advance, but just let them hang on the line, and Luigi will get some information from you. Actually, no.
Email you, Robin.
Email me, MissRobinAustin@gmail.com, and give me your information so that we can send you a certificate.
Okay, thanks, Miss Robin. Thanks, Tony.
All right, then.
Luigi.
Sorry
problem.
that you had to trigger me. I'm becoming triggered like the Democrats do every time they lose a special election. I'm triggered like now all the people on CNN. Did you see that picture of all the CNN anchors after that guy Ossoff lost his special election in Georgia the other night? They look like the world just ended.
I know. Here's the thing that I find incredibly sad. I remember being able to have just a normal discussion with somebody that I disagreed with, and at the end, you would still be able to have a beer with them or something. Now, it doesn't matter what you're
There's
talking
so much
about.
hate in the world.
There is. It's
Now, like Luigi hates me because I ripped him about the NBA.
I don't hate you.
It's incredibly
It's
volatile.
it's two different opinions, Tony. That's what it is. It's you have yours and I have mine about this.
There's the right one and the wrong one.
No. You look at the league one way. I look at it as another way. You look at it as dead and it stinks and all this other stuff. I look at the fact like, no, I appreciate what I'm. There is some greatness going on in the NBA today. You just have to open your eyes and accept it.
Tony
That it's
never
not-
said that
it's-
there wasn't any greatness going on. It's just that there's so many things that they're missing the point of.
I stand by it. The NBA is in total disarray. The stars are on teams who want to leave, and that's not a good sign for fans who plunk down their hard-earned money, become loyal to guys like Paul George and Jimmy Butler, and your team, you get a guy.
There's no such thing anymore in the NBA as a franchise player. It doesn't because the CBA allows you to leave, Tony.
I know that,
These
but I'm
guys
saying,
wanna
but I
leave.
still don't like. I could not like that. What happens if Joel Embiid finally plays a whole season and decides he wants to go somewhere else and wants to opt out? Would you be happy with that, Luigi, as a fan?
What's that?
If Joel Embiid or one of these Sixers young players in 2 years, they don't win enough, and then there's another team
It's a
likes
business.
them
He's gotta go, he's gotta
and
go.
says, I want to go there because I have a chance to win a championship. You think the fans who went through the whole process would be happy with that?
No, but it's part of the business. I have to understand it. Tony.
Okay, well, they wouldn't. They would be angry. They would be angry. In the meantime, I got to give the Flyers some love before we get out of here. You remember that young man, Mark Smith, the intellectually disabled 38-year-old man who was beaten up by those young punks on the street?
Yes.
They sucker punched him. They were
It was
arrested.
horrible.
The Flyers brought the man's name was Mark Smith. It was a viral video. The entire world saw it, and they brought him over to the Flyers skate zone today. Several of the Flyers players were there.
That's awesome.
And,
Now, was
they
he
gave him a jersey.
Was he a hockey fan prior to?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm reading the story here, and he was the victim of that unprovoked attack. And then he was back in the spotlight. The Flyers presented him with his own jersey. Shane Gotthespear was there, Anthony Stolars, a couple other Flyers. And they wanted to make him feel better about himself. And so they gave him the jersey, and he got an entire bag of Flyers gear. And he said he's going to give it away to local children because he's obviously not a Flyer fan.
It's a great thing to do.
Absolutely.
Now, what's I remember the story. I remember seeing a little bit of the video, which was just horrendous. Was he Down syndrome?
I don't know, but he was mentally,
Right.
obviously, mentally disabled.
I have to say that one of my most proud high school jobs was teaching swimming to a disabled class, and 90% of the students were Down syndrome. And I have to say, for those of you who have not had the opportunity to spend any time with anybody that has Down syndrome, there is something that is incredibly beautiful about their souls. I don't know what it is, but I don't think I ever was around a person with Down syndrome that wasn't happy and smiling and full of joy.
Right. You're absolutely
And I can't imagine the struggle. I mean, I know that the struggles that their families go through and help. There's all sorts of health problems and all sorts of other things, but there is tremendous joy in sharing sharing the world through their eyes, and I cannot even fathom choosing to do something like that to somebody that is handicapped in any way.
I don't have much money, but I donate to Autism Awareness every single year. It's my number one charity. It's the only charity I do donate to. I walk every single year for Autism Awareness. I do whatever I can for anyone with any kind of Down syndrome or any kind. Well, I don't even call it disability. It's really not even a disability. I really don't. I think they're some of the most wonderful people on the planet. They really are. I mean, I'd rather hang out with them than most people I know, to be honest with you. They're nice. They're genuine souls. They really are. I mean, it's a shame that anyone would even think about doing anything that bad to anyone who can't even stand up for themselves. You're a real piece of shit human being is what you are. Seriously, you are. And you deserve to be strung up and castrated in front of everyone for the world to see.
Exactly.
You do.
And on that note, we'll wrap it up. Well, I have one final note on the NBA draft. I just saw a story from the preeminent NBA guy, Adrian Wojnarowski from The Vertical, the best NBA guy in the league.
Yeah, anybody checking from the horizontal?
From The Vertical.
Thank you.
And I mean, there's not even a close second when it comes to the NBA than Adrian. And he's saying that the Knicks are listening for offers for Porzingis. They want a top 4 pick so they can get Josh Jackson. That appears to be what they want. They want Josh Jackson, and if you're willing to be one of the top 4 teams to give up that pick, then you can get yourself a Kristaps Porzingis so that the Knicks can get Josh Jackson.
Well, then you got to get the 2 because I would think the Lakers are probably going to take Josh Jackson.
No, the Lakers aren't. The Lakers are going to take Ball.
I don't know, man. I think the Lakers might take him.
They might, but I think they take Ball now that they're getting rid of what's-his-face, the other superstar in the making who is 2 years and
D'Angelo
done.
Russell.
D'Angelo Russell, who the Sixer Trusters wanted so badly to come here and take us to the promised land. The only promised land I'm going is to the air-conditioned bedroom.
I'm going to work, man.
You got to work tonight?
I got to work tonight, bro.
Tonight?
Overnight, yep.
I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me that?
It's okay.
Now I got you all worn out, man.
I'm good, man.
You look worn out, man.
Nah, this show
tore up from the floor up.
Breathes life into me. The afterlife.
You got them all riled up.
I'm not riled up.
You are riled up.
It's just 2-on-1 all the time, and I can't stand it.
Who's yelling at you? Robin?
Just Robin. Give me the evil look all the time.
No, Robin doesn't have to get an evil look. You can stick up for yourself.
I do.
I was telling him to get off of Facebook and going back and forth with people.
Exactly.
I'm entertaining the guests.
She wasn't picking on you. She was just telling you to not type when we're talking. Well, the good news is the mayor of Philadelphia has announced new initiatives to fight climate change tonight.
It's a good job out of him.
I'll get on it. Maybe they should stop spewing hot air from City Hall. That'll keep the temperature cooler. In the meantime, on that note, we want to thank everybody for listening in tonight. All the folks who called in and all the people who watched on Facebook, Live, Twitter, Periscope. And what else am I always missing one?
YouTube.
How can I forget YouTube? Enjoy your summer solstice. We'll be back next week. We'll break it down again to levels beyond scientific. There may be some yelling, but there's never pushing and shoving. In the meantime, don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. And God bless America. It's a beautiful country. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Tony Bruno Show.
We hope you'll make this a weekly visit. Come back soon.
Thank you for